I got my visa.
Hello everyone, come with me to go pick up my Japanese visa from the Embassy of Japan in Wellington, New Zealand. Welcome back to my channel. I'm the Sassy Engineer and this is a guide through the process of applying for a Japanese visitor's visa in New Zealand as a Nigerian citizen. Because Nigeria is not on the list of countries who have visa exemption with Japan, we are really not on many lists. You will need to apply for a visitor visa if you're a Nigerian citizen. So this means that if your country is not on the list of countries who have this exemption, whether you're Nigerian or not, you will need to apply for a visitor visa to visit Japan. It's called temporary visitor's visa. So whether you're planning to visit Japan for tourism, business, or to visit friends and family, I've got you covered. Let's get started. Japan is a country known for its rich history, advanced technology, and deep-rooted cultural traditions. It's an island nation in East Asia with a reputation for discipline, efficiency, and hospitality. I haven't been, but I've heard stories and I've seen their movies. One of Japan's most admired qualities is its orderliness, seen in everything from its spotless streets to its punctual public transport. You've heard of the stories, right? The Japanese value respect, structure, and harmony, which is reflected in their daily interactions, workplace culture, and even disaster preparedness. Whether it's forming perfect queues at train station, following unspoken rules of etiquette, or maintaining impeccable cleanliness in public spaces. Again, I haven't been, but I've heard stories. Japan's orderliness is a testament to its deeply ingrained sense of responsibility and collective respect for society. This orderliness also extends to their visa application process, which follows strict guidelines. Not everyone can apply for a Japanese visa in New Zealand. So the first question you need to ask is, can you apply for this visa in New Zealand? Having recently gone through this process myself, here's what I learned. If you're not an NZ passport holder, that's if you're not a New Zealand passport holder, you must have a valid long-term New Zealand visa, such as resident visa, work visa, or student visa, and should be residing in New Zealand. This is the first eligibility criterion. If you do not meet this, do not bother submitting your application in New Zealand, as it will not be accepted. Once you confirm your eligibility, the next step is to gather the required documents, which typically includes a valid passport with at least 2 blank pages and valid for at least 6 months beyond your intended stay in Japan. Completed visa application form, 1 passport size photograph that's 4.5 by 3.5 taken within the last 6 months. So it must not be the same as your passport or previously issued visa unless it was within 6 months. Then you need a New Zealand visa if you are not a New Zealand passport holder. A detailed travel itinerary outlining your plans in Japan. There will be a template given, so you fill that form and then fill extra if it's not enough. Flight itinerary. You don't need to book the flight. It can be screenshots showing pages or itinerary issued by travel agents. I used booking.com to get my flight and I just printed it out and submitted it. You can also use Expedia, you can use Cheap Flights, one of those online travel sites. You can use that, put in your dates and then download it or screenshot it. It works fine too. Hotel reservation or proof of accommodation. For proof of accommodation, the hotel reservation must be confirmed. I use booking.com for this. So when you are checking, make sure it's one that has free cancellation just in case, but highly unlikely, but just in case they deny your visa. Proof of financial means like 3 months bank statement must show your source of income, and you can provide multiple statements if your money is not in a single account. That's what I did. Employment letter or evidence of enrollment if you're a student, and any additional document that might support your application, like invitation letter if you are visiting friends or family. The embassy recommends arranging your documents in the order they listed for faster processing. It's not mandatory, it's just that it helps them speed up their work. So that's what I did, so you can do that as well. If your purpose of travel is not tourism or holiday, that is if you are visiting family or friends or business trip or conference, there will be extra documentation required, such as invitation letter for business visas or proof of relationship between you and the inviter if you are visiting family and friends. Fortunately, Japan provides a checklist to simplify this process. Next, download and complete the visa application form from the Japanese embassy's website. Be thorough and ensure all information is accurate, as discrepancies could cause delays or rejection. If you are not being invited to Japan, you may leave that guarantor/inviter section blank. It's not required in every case. I didn't feel it. Additional tips from me is to ensure all documents are in English or Japanese. If you are traveling as a group, that's family for instance, there is no need to duplicate shared documents such as itinerary, flight details, and use one for all. If staying in multiple accommodations, number your accommodation confirmation according to the order of stay. So if you're arriving from 12 to 13, that's 1, 2, etc. Then lastly, number and reorder documents according to the required document list. This is not mandatory, it's just ideal. After you've completed this, you are ready to submit your application. You will need to go to the Japanese embassy to submit your application. So that brings us to the next step. Do you need an appointment? No, you don't need an appointment to apply. You simply visit the consular office during reception hours, which is usually Mondays to Friday, 9 to 12, and 1:30 to 4 p.m. Your region of residence in New Zealand determines where you must submit your document. Residents in Northland, Auckland, Waikato, Bay of Plenty, and Rupehu district will submit the application to Consulate General of Japan in Auckland. If you live in Canterbury, you should apply at the Consular Office of Japan in Christchurch. I'm heading to Embassy of Japan in Wellington to submit mine. To apply at the Embassy of Japan in Wellington, you should reside in Wellington, Taranaki, Gisborne, Hawke's Bay, Manawatu Whanganui excluding Rupehu district, and the South Island excluding Canterbury. Residents from within the jurisdictions of the embassy but far from Wellington may apply by post. When applying by post, if you are not sure whether to use a physical or PO box address, write both addresses on the envelope. However, note that passport will not be returned by post. You will need to go to that embassy to pick up your passport. Now we are in the next step, the waiting game. After submitting your application, all that is left is to wait for the processing. Processing takes a minimum of 5 working days, so plan accordingly. The embassy will notify you when your visa is ready for collection. The embassy notified me and I'm now heading to Wellington, as you can see in this video. Before I show you how that went for me, let's talk about the visa fees. Remember that you must visit the embassy to collect your passport. It is at the embassy that you pay your visa fees, which must be in cash. They do not accept credit card, FPOS, or check. It's written bold on their website that they do not accept it. Visa fees is usually revised on April 1st every year, but the fee that you pay is determined based on the date an application is lodged, not the issuance or collection date. So don't panic if your pickup date is after April 1st of the year. Fees as of this time that I picked up mine is $35 for single entry, multiple entry is $70, and if you're applying for a transit visa, it's $8. One more thing, you cannot submit your application more than 3 months before your intended travel date. The visa's validity is 3 months, so you must enter Japan within 3 months after your visa is issued, which means that you cannot apply for your visa more than 3 months to your intended travel date. It's going to say you are not eligible. Note that. Which makes it tricky because if you are traveling around the peak period, flights becomes expensive pretty quickly, but you can plan it well. Get your documents ready before the 3 months, and once you hit that 3 months, you apply for the visa. And you cannot say I'm going to fake my intended travel date and make it look like I'm going earlier, because the number of days that are going to give you to stay in Japan is going to be dependent on how long you say you're going to stay in Japan. Of course, it's also passport dependent, so think about it carefully. For me, once I started gathering my documents and preparing everything, once I hit that 3 months to my travel time, I went straight to the embassy. Actually, it was a week into the 3 months. I went to the embassy, and within the next week I got my visa. Another thing I would like to say here is that there's how you can tell that you get the visa based on what is keeping you in New Zealand. If you have a good job, you've not had any stain on your passport, immigration history, there's a likelihood that they're going to give you the visa. But you know, it's 50-50. You don't want to risk it. But again, so I am now heading to collect my visa.
You have arrived.
To level 18. High rise. Take the high rise lift. Woo. And we push 18. I'm here to collect my passport. My visa application has been approved. And I chose to collect my passport in person. You can actually nominate someone to pick it up for you, but I wanted to submit the Korea one, so I came to pick up the Japan. Right. There you go. I got my visa. So when you come to pick up your visa, you come with an ID, and the visa fee for me, since they gave me a single entry visa, it's $35. And they'll give you the receipt. It's very cute, and your visa and a little bit of information for you to know about visiting Japan, blah 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 blah. Whoa. 5 days is really fast. You can sit here while waiting, or if you want to do something else, like for me, I want to fill my form for Korea. Information on what you can bring, what you cannot bring. And now I am going towards the Korean embassy, the Republic of Korea, South Korea embassy, to submit my Korean visa. That will be another video. And that's it. You've successfully applied for a Japanese visitor visa from New Zealand as a Nigerian citizen or a citizen that is not on the list of visa waiver countries. I hope you found this guide helpful. If you have any questions, drop them in the comment section. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more travel tips and guides. Safe travels and enjoy your trip to Japan like I am going to enjoy mine.